You can say, hey, we're here live now. We're actually on.
Ooh, cool.
So, at this point, if anybody's watching, they've got us. Because this is the first time, we don't really even know for sure what we're doing. So we're going to just wing it and make this work.
By the way, everyone, we're live here, so no profanity, okay? We're not too worried. It is the first ever Google Hangout here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen, and it's we're pretty excited. I'm pretty impressed that you put all this technology together.
Thank you.
My major contribution was staying out of the way and leaving you alone so you could do it. And endlessly posting on Facebook, of course. Although you did a fair amount of that, too.
I did.
So they've gotten, how many Sonics did they say, new Chevy Sonics? Was there like 10 of them?
10 of them,
something like that, yeah. Boy, those things are just wildly popular, too. The base model apparently starts somewhere in the neighborhood of $14,000 or $15,000. So for something, what one option there, the book says, is a rear camera. I mean, that was such a high-end option. You only had, $250,000 motorhomes that had a rear backup camera. Now you can get one on a $14,000 or $15,000 car. That's pretty amazing. And I'll bet for anybody who has a college kid who is worried about whether or not they can get in get into a parking space, that has to be a pretty good feeling. So the intent here today is just kind of see how it goes, let you know how. First of all, welcome everybody to the first ever Google Hangout at Schukei Chevrolet. I'm going to be doing that a few times since we're not actually at start time yet. We're still getting used to the idea. So we'll be welcoming people pretty steadily here. But it is just a beautiful day. There are a lot of folks here I see there was an older couple who just popped by, and it looks like they just had that looks like a Caprice Classic, maybe serviced. Of course, I'm a little rusty on my Chevrolet models, but I'll do my best. I'm Colleen Devine, by the way, and my cohort is Rick Hesse. He is kind of the mechanic here. And what are you doing there, Richard? There we go. Okay.
Can you see me on there, the tablet?
Pardon?
Down in the corner says...
Yes.
What I'm doing here? Oops, wrong. Okay.
Focus. Oh, there we go.
So
we've got a tablet and a webcam and about 10 things in here. And I just couldn't resist bringing this as a prop. So there you go. Old habits die hard. This is the Johnny Carson microphone. His, by the way, wasn't real either. Neither was David Letterman's. That's his. And none of those actually work. They're all props. So don't know if that makes anybody feel any better, but Johnny Carson's wasn't a microphone either. He had the boom mic and the lavalier and all that kind of stuff. Neither is Letterman's. They're all props. All of them. So now that I've ruined the romance of the Tonight Show for generations to come. Oops. That's a good question.
Okay.
Just grab the spec book here in a second. There were several things that I really wanted to talk about. Several things that are really their big thing here at Schukei Chevrolet. First of all, the financing. Yeah. Everyone has known literally for decades that if you were having trouble getting a car and getting it financed, you came here. First credit is the financing arm. I love it. There we go.
We're live.
Oh, we are totally live here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen in Mason City, 721 South Monroe, if I remember correctly. And but the financing was really huge for them. It always has been. And so that's, I mean, especially during financial times like this, the sound of business. We like that. We also wanted to talk about the Chevy Sonics, as we said, because those are such hot little cars. Great for college kids.
Yep.
Great for college kids. If your kids were still Your kids aren't college age anymore, are they? They're
No,
grown, I was going to
they're in
say.
their 30s. They're all
Yeah. Are they really?
They're all,
That
yeah.
makes me feel ancient,
My
Rick. I
youngest is
should have asked.
32.
Yeah, seriously? Okay, that was painful. Let's not do that again. But if your kids were just going to college, that Sonic would be a pretty good choice for a college car.
Sure
don't you
would.
think?
Yeah, it's a nice little car. That was a 40 mpg, I think I saw on the
Mm-hmm.
Chevy website when I was setting some of this stuff up. You know, speaking of, actually, one of the things that we can do here is I wanted to share a video from you.
Oh, that would be great.
On the Sonic that I just did here.
So did you catch one outside then? I know you were.
No, these are ones those clips that I did for Facebook.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I can figure out where they're at. I did the playlist earlier.
I was just gonna say, really, Eminem, really?
No, it wasn't Eminem on my playlist.
Singing an Enrique Iglesias, the Gorillas. I'm stunned.
Well,
do you ever really know someone?
No. No, that's true.
Well, technically, we are just really beginning our broadcast here today at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen in Mason City, and it's the first ever Google Hangout in a commercial application that we know of. You've never heard of it?
I've never heard of it.
Not here in town, anyway.
No.
And I have never heard of one, in the area, really, even. It's not a new thing. It's been done. But really, we're just...
Yeah, there's thousands of Hangouts done every day.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest users of Hangouts are people who do online marketing, who do those kinds of things that want to show people how to do what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling you might be, for viewers, you might be a disembodied voice. Shall we turn this or well,
yeah.
We'll probably get some light here.
We got these windows in here showing, and that's kind of the annoying part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But not much we can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. And I guess I'm,
having just too darn much
just
fun.
having some fun here, trying to play around, and because I did it earlier, I really did.
I believe you. We were talking about Google Hangout, and really all it is if anyone's ever used anything like GoToMeeting.com or there's another site, I can't even think of what it is, but it's basically a video conference.
Yeah.
And rather than having to buy all the incredibly expensive and elaborate technical gear that would be needed to do that, YouTube and Google and those companies make it possible just to do it through their sites and their services, as long as you know how to use them. And you have spent some time learning how to do that, haven't you?
I have spent some time. Yeah, I have spent some time learning this stuff, and that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to say it's fun, but sometimes it's actually not.
It has its moments. By the way, Rick is Rick Hesse with New Tech Advertising. I'm Colleen Devine with the Devine Company, and we've kind of got a partnership going on, not a legal one or any of that kind of thing yet, but really collaboration, I suppose, I've been referring to you as my cohort today.
Yeah,
so
I noticed
that.
I saw that, yeah. I've been called worse.
Me too, and I'm sure I will be again. So, not too concerned about it. But we do have some technology scattered around here in order to make this happen. We're going to try to catch some of the salespeople and some of the folks here, but they've made it pretty clear that they don't necessarily want to be on camera. So
yeah, they have.
It's an old story. Anytime you're doing a live broadcast, there are either people who will walk right up to you and talk, or there are pretty much everybody else who just runs for the corners. And that last one is the more common of the two. So not a big deal. It's public speaking, which is the number one fear of, 80%?
No, more than that, I think, because I think it's bigger than fear of death.
Oh.
I think I heard that.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're right. Wow.
Yeah, imagine that.
One of about 3 things I'm good at.
Yeah. it's talking, you know. I mean, yeah, I've done radio, I've done TV commercials, and all those things, and yeah, it's not really that difficult.
But some
I
people are comfortable
understand.
with it, some people aren't.
I do understand the apprehension. Okay.
An error occurred. Oh no! You get to watch us fight with the technology too, which is kind
That's
of
what I
fun.
was checking here. Let's see.
So we wanted to be sure and mention that since it is Thursday, Shukei's are open until 8 o'clock tonight. And this is still in the throes of summer, so it's
60 seconds. It's a 60-second. So now we're straight live.
already then. Yes, we're still getting used to the technology. But I have to say, it's fun and it's interesting, and it isn't just for business applications, obviously. I'm quite sure that I was thinking there might have been a nonprofit who had done a hangout, but I can't think of who it would be. So this is the first commercial one here in Mason City that we're aware of. I don't certainly know of anyone else.
Well, I did a chamber presentation last year, almost a year ago now, in October, I believe. That was on how to do Google Hangouts.
Okay.
And that's financing.
Okay.
Should be coming through on your screen now. Not yet. Too late. So long away. This is
Always an argument.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulty, it looks like. My little sharing screen didn't come across there what I thought I was doing.
Well, it had been going too well, so not surprising that it would decide to mess with us at some point.
Well, of course, it can't go 100% smooth, can it?
No, in fact, I would worry if it
Well,
did.
let's
Just
just
mean you probably have a car accident on the way home or something. Something's got to go wrong somewhere.
here.
So the three things that we're talking about today are things we're mostly interested in letting everybody know are the financing, since winter's coming, and if you've got an iffy vehicle, it's not going to be a good time to get through the winter with it. Also, Chevy Sonic, you can have a used car pretty much for the price of, or a new car pretty much for the price of a used one, and pickups, which, you know, it's going to be harvest. Well, it's probably started some places already, and you have to have them. That's just all there is to it. You just have to have them. And I was talking earlier with my mother, actually, but pickups are still very much just a passenger vehicle. You see a lot of people, I mean, you go to the church parking lot on Sunday, and it's going to be at least half full of pickups, and that's just the way it is. So they have a pretty good inventory of them out there, I would say.
Yeah, they do.
It really looks like they plan to head very well on this and make that count. So any progress on our friend the video yet?
Oh, should we work the video part of it? I don't know. We'll give up on that for a little bit here. We're
Okay.
talking about Schukei stuff.
Okay.
We're gaining viewers here, I see.
Woohoo.
Started at 1 and we're going up. So, hey, that's where we want it to go.
Hey, and this is as new gets. So it isn't a surprise, and really this is kind of what do they call it, the shakedown or the shakeout cruise or whatever it is. That it's a new thing, and so it's really letting anybody who is interested in seeing what the place looks like, what things are available, and seeing them right here and right now. Probably, I'm guessing that a bit of this is being viewed on mobile phones, don't you think?
Could be. Yeah. There's more and more that actually is going into mobile phones.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that is different. And younger people, that's how they access the internet is using mobile phones and tablets and those kinds of devices. That's how they're doing it. And that's why I got into this business. While I'm trying to work with local business owners to understand how it works.
Well, and to help them. I mean, if that's where the customers are, then that's where the businesses have to be. You can't. I mean, obviously, I don't think you can discount anything. I don't think any advertising vehicle should be completely dispensed with. You just have to phase in the new ones to make sure that you're keeping up, and that's basically what we're doing here. So I can't help but notice that there is a fair amount of traffic out on the lot, which is nice to see. And it is, of course, a beautiful day, too. That doesn't hurt.
Of course, yeah. That helps.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to think of all the things that are going on tonight. I know Thursday's on Main. St. Clair Lake is going on. There's something going on here as well. I can't think what it is right now. So it's going to be
For hours function?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
And tomorrow night, of course, the last Friday night live of the season. I hate to say that, but that's the way it is. So anyhow, I did want to talk a little bit more about the Sonics because those are just huge. I mean, no pun intended, they're little. But it's a
huge.
Yeah. There are some.
That's what we're doing. Oh, no, CW.
Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that for a second.
Well, maybe go outside and show a vehicle.
I wouldn't mind that. If you don't.
We can be talking on that camera.
Sure.
See,
Okay.
There we go. It just got on the World Wide Web.
Darren, you're on camera.
You didn't even know it. You were.
Well, you were for a minute there. No one's safe, in other words. I guess we'll just have to go over it. Bottom line is that Schukei Chevy Volkswagen has been in this business for a very, very long time, and they know what this market needs. And the market, if you'll forgive my saying so, really needs Chevy Sonics and the financing help. I mean, a lot of, I think I've read somewhere that most bankruptcies now are as a result of medical costs, which is not a huge shock, but the credit reporting agencies now are taking that into account and not making such a hard hit for to people's credit ratings if they have to take bankruptcy because of medical costs. Not much about that. Either get the medical help or not.
Or at least listen to her talk.
I don't know anybody could say, nah, it's too expensive, let's not. Well, maybe. But the point there is that that's okay, you're safe, you took it outside. Naturally, we're torturing everybody who goes by us.
Anyway, I'll just show a car.
The real gist of it is that they're taking a look at why people have had financial difficulty and what did it. Now, if it's, you bought a huge big screen TV and didn't pay for it, okay, that's probably not going to be viewed quite as kindly as you needed a kidney transplant or something. Medical costs add right up. I can certainly think of instances in my own family where that has most assuredly been the case, and I bet we could pick anybody walking by here who would have a similar story. So that's really, it's really a huge concern. So the point there is that everybody knows that if you're want to get financed, Schukei is the place to do it. Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen at 721 South Monroe here in Mason City. Looks like Rick has got a picture of a Chevy Sonic up out there. And he's walking around out there getting us some shots of the Sonic. That one looks like one that is featured in some literature that I've seen, and on the Chevrolet website, this white one right here. As you can see, again, it's a beautiful day, which is really wonderful. And it's a four-door. I wasn't really expecting that. You know, if it's a small car, a lot of times you'll just think it's going to be a two-door, just because that seems correct, but no, it's a four-door. Nice little family car, too, if you have a young family. And tall friends have told me that the smaller cars tend to have more headroom. So a lot of times, if you've ever seen somebody who's 6'5" climb out of a little bitty car and wonder how they can get in there, well, it's because they tend to have higher roofs. So a tall person is going to have more headroom, not going to want a concussion quite as often. We are here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen to talk about financing today and about the Sonic and about pickups. And if you can see Rick out there, he's walking around trying to get some shots. There we go. There's a shot of the back of that Sonic. That one's sitting right out on the lot of the drive. When you come in the driveway, pretty much the first thing to see. And someone is doing exactly that right now. It's really fun to do this live. It's an adjustment, but it's interesting. I'm guessing there's a train around here somewhere. Yep, there is. The train's pretty close. That's the sound of commerce, right? By the way, we will be giving away some prizes. We're going to be picking from folks who've logged in, from folks who have been invited, from folks who come in the door. There's first prize is a complete oil change service and cleaning inside and out. I believe detailing goes with that, and a couple of just regular car or light truck oil changes. Need those pretty much all the time. If you let that go too long, that's the problem. I think the train has driven Rick back indoors. Heaven knows there is a lot of traffic out there on the lot. It's nice to see, obviously, since the train drove you back in, did it?
That and lack of a plan.
Lack of a plan? Plan? What is this plan you speak of? We're making this up as we go. You really do. I mean, the trains in Mason City are always such a topic of discussion that you really kind of forget just how close you can be with some of them. And there's one right over there. There's one reasonably near my house, but, you know, it's still 4 or 5 blocks away. But still, it's really interesting how much. Oh, I just thought of the other thing that's going on tonight. Hello, PGI, Pyrotechnics Guild International Convention, still going on at the North Iowa Event Center, which is the new name for the fairgrounds. I believe it is going through tomorrow night. I had it in my head for some reason that was going to be over last night, and I mentioned that somewhere, and people said, wrong. wrong.
No, I just learned I'm watching my grandson. One of my grandsons tomorrow night because they're going to.
Was that right?
Okay. I said, I turned to my wife and said, I bet Grandma don't get much sleep tomorrow night.
I wouldn't be surprised. I do have to say they're loud, but they're cool. I mean, that's an international convention. And it's just really incredible. I mean, I could see some of it from my house if I walk out in the driveway and look around the stuff that gets launched. I can see some of that. And there are a lot of people who walk anything in the neighborhood, and I have seen a few times where people just stop, just look up and just watch. It really is. The ground displays, I guess, are the things that are really impressive.
Yeah,
so,
it's in over too.
Lots of fun stuff. I have several friends who were going last night, at least 2 that are going tonight that I can think of, and a lot of people want to go to the finale tomorrow night. So did you say it was tomorrow night that you'll be sitting?
Yep.
May I suggest earplugs for those attending?
Oh, I heard them every night this week.
Oh, you and me both. It is fun. I mean, it is only a week, and if we're going to complain about that, then we're going to complain about anything, right?
Yeah, that is true.
So meanwhile, back at the ranch here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen in Mason City, they are open until 8 o'clock tonight, and it is really, the fact that they're open 2 nights a week is kind of a big deal, because that didn't used to really be the case with car dealers that I can recall. My dad was in the car business, and so we could pretty much know what the hours used to be. So still, I know they laugh at me when I come in here because it smells like a car place, which I remember from when I was little. But also, it's a Chevrolet dealership, which that was what my dad saw. Yeah, so here are all these classic signs, posters, and things, and you can see a bunch of them. You can't see them on camera over there. But really vintage stuff. That's a lot of fun. But it is interesting evidence of just exactly how long Chevrolet's been around, how long Volkswagen's been around, and how long Schukei's have been in the car business. A really long time. I mean, you got to be doing some stuff right to survive that long.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. They have been around a long time. I've bought cars here over the years, and yeah, I have good experience with them.
The financing thing is just, I can't say any good things about that, because First Credit they do have some specific parameters wherein you have to fit, but
as always,
sure, exactly, there have to be some conditions for anything, and they're not going to finance, say, a First Credit is probably not going to do that brand new program they got that's $71,000.
No, I'm sure they won't.
I believe they would call that too much car for the program. But I was kind of wondering where that is. Did you see it out there?
The vet, I
It's
did
blue
not.
even.
No, I did not see it. I didn't notice it.
Probably inside getting complete detail and polish up. We're probably going to bring it into the showroom. Either that or Steve's driving it right now. Which is, if I owned the place, that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, there ought to be some perks to this, right? Other than the assorted headaches of owning a business in the 21st century. So a major part of our discussion here today is just the fact that we're doing what's called a Google Hangout. And the name just comes from want to hang out.
Right.
It's basically a video conference.
And I explained it to my clients as, the video phone we've heard about since I was a kid, the 1950s World Fair, whatever. They were talking about video phones, and they're here. And they're free.
Well, and we could be doing this on our phones, literally, if we wanted to.
Yes, yeah, we can. We can go down those licenses.
There's what's referred to now as wearable technology.
Yep.
And that is Dick Tracy at his finest.
Yep. It even looks like some of those things.
Oh, it does. It's wrist radio stuff. It really is. I want Google Glass one of these days because it's just too creepy for me not to like it.
Yeah.
Do we know anyone who has Google Glass yet?
I don't know anybody that does yet.
I don't either, but I know several people that I'm surprised they don't have it yet.
It's still very limited.
Is it? Probably still around Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's even publicly for sale yet.
Oh, isn't it? I was thinking it was.
It could be. It's pretty expensive.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think they would be. And I don't know, I'm a little uncomfortable with that level of surveillance. But whether you're comfortable with it or not, it's happening. So it doesn't really matter.
It's going to be smart about it. It's like anything. I mean, technically, identity theft has only become such a big thing in the last few years. Before that, or even not more recent than that, it's been more common for you to have your identity stolen in a restaurant than it has been online. Of course, with recent things happening, that may not be true anymore. I'm not sure. But that's another topic. We're not talking about that here.
That's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, it's different.
We are, by the way, ensconced in an office here at Schukei Chevrolet and Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen. Sorry, Volkswagen, I always forget. To me, Chevrolet is the big thing.
Yeah, it's always been Chevrolet, yeah. It's been Schukei a long time, but VW a long time, too.
So we are here in one of the offices in the, let's see, this would be the north central part of the building, I guess. Ooh, ah. So when you come in, the main door there on the south side of the building, where if you walk pretty much over to the service department door, you can see where we are. The sound of commerce. That's a good thing. It's really been interesting to see how a lot of folks have, businesses have weathered the recession of a few years ago, and how you see who had been through rough spots before and knew how to kind of ride it out. This is a pretty good example of one of those businesses, don't you think?
Oh, I would guess, yeah. They've seen a lot of ups and downs, but 47 years or something?
Oh, it's closer to like 100,
Oh,
isn't
is
it?
it? Oh, okay.
Or 97 or something. Okay, we're embarrassed.
Yeah, okay, I'm
I
sorry.
used to know that.
Yes, I did too. I thought I'd read it somewhere.
Just go to the Schukei Chevrolet Facebook page, exactly.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, it should somewhere. Since well, maybe it's the website.
Here.
Again, making this up as we go. There we go. Or not. Again, check the Facebook page if you're on Facebook. And if you're not, we don't know why. Yeah, we had to be dragged kicking and screaming too, didn't we? Thought it was silly, but you know what? If that's where the technology's going, that's where we have to go. So that's what we're up to. And here's sales and service. I'm hearing a little feedback. Is that from the other?
Or it could be the 60-second echo because of the time delay.
Oh, sure. Okay. We're really, as we've said a number of times, we're really just getting used to this. And I'm pretty impressed by the way that you have your tablet out there on a tripod.
And nobody even knows it's there.
I know.
They're not even paying any attention to it.
That's kind of why I
People
wanted to
walking
shout
by.
and say, no profanity, please. Not that there's an FCC problem with that, because I
No.
don't believe they've been able to insert themselves into the internet equation yet, because it's not nationalized. But if we say that too loud, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Heaven knows there are enough people trying.
Yeah.
The Chinese. Trying very hard. So where, oh, you have that set up pretty close, your tablet on the tripod there, pretty close to the south door, yes. There's a lot of reflection in these
Yeah, right by the door.
offices, so it's hard to see.
That is the sonic there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That's why I left it on that one for a minute.
Good call.
We'll talk to Mission South.
Okay, sounds like a plan. At Schukei Chevrolet, of course, they are open until 8 o'clock. I believe the service department might still be open. I'm certainly seeing activity out there, which is just to the north of us where we're sitting. But that's another thing that didn't used to be the case. The service department was closed. It was closed, and it was that. But this is... I'm hearing a feedback loop with my own voice, and that is taking some getting used to. Also, getting used to the whole idea of a live stream. It's very 21st century. It is something that we're hoping to use a lot more of. I've attended some meetings on GoToMeeting.com, and there is another, I can't think of that other website, but basically it's a video meeting site. And you can all check in. It's basically just a conference call. There's also Skype, of course. And that is, I just hope we don't catch anybody doing anything that they would rather not be seen doing. But Skype, of course, probably more people are familiar with Skype because that's essentially a video phone. That's what it is. I know people who Skype all the time. People in Great Britain who talk to their relatives in Minnesota. In California who talk to their relatives in Great Britain and Minnesota and here, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really nice to be able to have. Parents don't miss so much with respect to the grandkids, where if you see them once a year, then they're a foot taller or something, and don't even remember what you look like unless you're sending pictures back and forth. So I think that's a real godsend, given the fact that people are so scattered these days around the country and around the world. But it's just kind of an advantage, I guess, is the best word, that you can be able to see and talk to your grandkids. I know Rick enjoys it. He's got grandkids who live at some a distance, and that's really a big deal for him. So anyway, let's talk Sonics. Safety is, of course, huge, especially for a smaller car that you're going to get for a smaller family or for your college kids. Anybody with any kids going to college or just to high school, it seems like there's always a rash of terrible accidents, either right when school starts or right as school is getting out, and anything that you can do to keep those kids safe. That would certainly seem to be the thing to do. I am looking for that options list. I can't say enough good things about the camera option as well. That backup camera, the rear camera, the only place you used to see those, as we said earlier, if you were just tuning in, we were talking about that earlier, what a high-end option that was. And it used to be the only places you'd see that were on $250,000 motorhomes. Not anymore. A Chevy Sonic sitting right here in the showroom, the one that you can see if you're looking at the tablet shot. It's a little black Sonic sitting here in the showroom. I'm pretty sure there's a camera in there. I'll try to get Rick to go over and take a picture of the camera with the camera, if we can possibly do so. But that's a major option. It's just a huge option. Otherwise, the options list is pretty nice. They're pretty high-end options. There's a fog lamp package. There's, of course, the usual emissions packages that are kind of a thing. I wonder if they still have California emissions. 100 years ago, when I used to work at a car place, there was a whole separate section for California emissions. If you didn't look carefully, you'd order something with California emissions, and that was bad if you did not live in California. Can you? Beg your pardon? Okay, cool. Can you tell me, is there the rear camera in that Cruise, or in that Sonic, I mean? Is it the backup camera?
I'm just going to take that tab and walk around with it.
Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, that'd be great. Mm-hmm. I'm, of course, a huge fan of the backup camera. Because
it's showing on the screen now on YouTube is the back camera.
Okay, excellent.
It's a big screen that you're seeing.
Okay.
That's what I was showing on YouTube.
Okay, excellent. Well, you can see that Chevy Sonic then. It doesn't look like an economy car. To me, that looks a lot higher end than you might expect. I don't think that is the base $15,000 model, but still, even if they go up to something like 18 or 20, that's still not exactly a fortune, so it's pretty major stuff. Rick is walking around with the tablet camera. He's getting a look at the... I cannot see the price.
Price is $19,000.
Rick, can you tell me the retail on that? I can't see it.
$19,000.
$19,000. That looks like a lot more expensive car than $19,000, don't you think?
Yep.
Yes, we are in agreement on this. So now you can see the inside there. I'm thinking that if you can see the control panel right there, that I believe is where the backup camera would be. I know, I'm obsessed with them, sorry. But it's a very high-end looking cockpit. Of course, the gear shift on the floor. Very nice. Those seats are not average either. Those are comfortable. I went and sat in one of them. It doesn't, you know, sometimes when it's an economy car, you sit in it and you can feel every spring. Not fun. Well, these are nice bucket seats. I don't know if anybody even uses that term anymore either. It used to be a thing. Now they're just front seats. Obviously, that one's jet black. And those look like custom wheels. I was just leafing past the wheels here in the book. And it looks like that might be the case. So we are going to be giving away some prizes. And we're going to do that before 7 o'clock. So if you want to win some prizes, you need to be tuning in or stopping in. But half the point here is that you can be able to see all this stuff without necessarily coming in right this minute. We understand if you can't get out of the house right now. And the business with the financing here has always been available and has always been something that North Iowans could do it was a place for them to go if they were having trouble getting financed. And that's not even, that's not a requirement. Believe me, they get plenty of high-end customers who have no trouble getting financing. Lots of really nice stuff there. I'm trying to see what that is. That, I think, is a Cruise. Rick, is that a Cruise, the red one?
Those are Sonics.
They're all Sonics?
They're Sonic.
Okay. Man in the street, Rick Hussey. So this is that whole batch of Sonics that they've gotten? Okay. Green's back.
Yep.
Nice to see. Boy, for a while there, you could not find a green car to save your life. And for a few years before that, you could get rid of the darn things. It's either all green or none, apparently. White always works, though. Black, too. That's a nice selection. And apparently these go out the door about as fast as they come in. There's more in the way of Sonics. Just a beautiful day. I think he's just taking any opportunity to get outside. Who could blame him? You're doing that, aren't you, Rick? Taking any opportunity to get outside, I wouldn't blame you. Nice options list there. Very nice options list. By the way, pretty much everybody is here to help you. I mean, as you can see, they're nowhere near us, which means they're talking with people. And that, of course, is exactly what they're here to do, and that's exactly what we want them to do, and that's what they want to do. So we're all happy campers. Here at Schukei Chevrolet in Mason City, Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen at 721 South Monroe, here in Mason City. And it looks like the 5 o'clock rush is in full swing out there, including from the trains. They have to make sure that they let us know that they're here. I'm just chuckling over people dodging the cameras, realizing what it is. It's, oh no, let's get it from here. There are a couple of little kids who've been running around having a pretty good time with the new cars. Climb in and stuff. I think their parents were getting a new vehicle, and that's a lot. See, that new car smell, you can't beat that. So with respect to the pickup inventory, you can see Rick is taking a little walk around there to see the pickup inventory. Look at all those pickup trucks. That is a whole bunch of inventory. I should have asked how many are... okay, and he's done. I should have asked how many of those are four-wheel drive. Obviously, if you're going to be pulling something pretty big with, like a big grain wagon or something with a full load at harvest time, then you're really going to need probably a four-wheel drive. You're going to want to make sure that you have a heavy enough engine and transmission and all that stuff. And they, of course, can help you with that. If you need a special order, that's not a problem. But I'd be surprised if you needed to, since it is, wow, there's an inventory out there. It's really, really pretty interesting stuff. 20 minutes before the hour now at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen, the first ever Google Hangout. Basically, a live stream little program here that is going on from Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen. They're pretty techy around here. They can answer an awful lot of questions that not everybody can. And as we've discussed, they've been at this for a while, so I'd be pretty surprised if there was a question they didn't know the answer to. And even if they didn't, they'll find it out pretty fast. I mean, I've seen them do it, so that's a pretty cool thing. There is, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 vehicles in the showroom right now. One of them, of course, is that Sonic. There is, I believe, an Impala sitting in front of me here. It is also, there we go, playing a little song. There are a couple of VWs. There's a Golf. I think that's a Jetta. And I know I don't talk enough about the Volkswagens. I know. Shame on me, I don't talk enough about the foreign cars. I don't know. It's hard to even think of Volkswagens as foreign cars anymore. They've been around for so long. They were such a major part of everybody's experience in the 70s. So did you have a pretty good time out there?
Yeah, I don't wander too far away, I think.
Lost the connection, maybe?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. Well, I noticed my face came back up, so. We were just talking a little bit about the way Volkswagens have just been around for so long. A lot of people forget it's a German car. I mean, they've been here for a while. Once again, with the technical issues. And is that, okay, you're reconnecting.
Trying to here.
Okay.
See where it's at.
Again, making this up as well. Not exactly making it up as we go, but certainly shaking the bugs out of it.
Is it not showing?
I don't know why it seemed important to do that. Well, I would just love it if I could get someone to talk to us about financing specifics, but boy, they just evaporated, didn't they?
Yeah.
People either like it or they don't. So. How long do you think it took you to get up to speed on this kind of thing? Yeah. I think there's a perception that it's incredibly difficult to learn, and that perception is coming from me.
Today I spent about 4 hours trying to figure out everything again. There we go.
Okay then. We're back.
I literally study this stuff every day. I mean, I do different things every day, but there's so many things that, and then like I thought I had it figured out a long time ago, and when I started working on this event, found out Google changed everything. So it was another.
They saw you were getting good at it.
8 or
They
10
couldn't
hours.
possibly let that continue.
8 or 10 hours to figure out what they changed.
Wow. Yeah, and it was just basically a change of the login, wasn't it?
Well, they went from using emails, right? I mean, and attached to log into the Hangout to using your Google Plus profile.
Okay.
If you have a Gmail, you have a Google Plus profile account, so it's a given whether you know or not you have it. It's a tip that you have to actually join Google Hangout now through your Google Plus profile.
Okay. And again, if it's a privacy concern, that always matters. That's well it should. But if someone's concerned about having too many profiles out there, just don't put much on it.
Yeah, but anything, you sign up for your email address and they give you all this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't put anything on your profile. You have to fill in your profile.
Same with Facebook. I mean, if you don't, I always kind of get a kick out of hearing Facebook knows everything about you. Not if you don't tell them. You know, Facebook doesn't know what high school I went to. It thinks it does. It keeps suggesting, you know, that you went to this high school and you did this. No, I didn't do any of those things. And no, I'm not telling you, Facebook. It's none of your business. So if you don't want them to know, just don't fill it. Yes, Facebook will nag you about it. They'll try to get you to finish your profile. No, I don't want to. I'm not gonna. If there's something you don't want them to know, don't tell them. They can access what you tell them. So just don't tell them. Don't put it on there. Yes, they'll nag you, but just click on that little X.
The other thing you can do is, I mean, you can create your own little groups. You know, you can actually have only people see, talk to you who want to.
Mhm.
You don't have to be public. You can have a private group that's just family, just friends, just business associates, whatever. You can create groups and make those private groups and nobody has access to it.
Mm-hmm. And you don't even have to put a picture on it.
No, you don't. I know that stuff.
A profile picture. I think I have on my LinkedIn profile. I have a sketch that a friend drew of me for a poster. Probably, a long time ago. I'm not saying that number of years, but it was a while. So, but yeah, again, they want you to know. They want you to tell them all that stuff. But just don't. What are they going to do? Come to your house?
No.
No.
So it's just private.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
Mm-hmm. If you're judicious about it at all, then they don't have to know everything about about you. My physical address is not on my Facebook page. My PO box might be. And the oh, did you lose something again there? Or?
Yeah.
Technology. It is fun though. It really is. This is a very new thing, and at least it's certainly new for us. And this is the first Google Hangout, basically a web stream that is being done in a commercial application in Mason City. And so hopefully we can encourage some other folks to do that as well. It's not, if you're really techie, I don't think it's that difficult to do. I wouldn't know personally because I make Rick do all that. But it's really, once you get it down, and get used to a lot of it is getting used to the idea and getting accustomed to the notion that it's even doable. You know, that you can even do such a thing, that anybody can do such a thing, other than, someone who owns a satellite TV Earth station. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, we were kind of laughing. I haven't done a remote for a while, and live remotes in radio, where I spent most of my career, are 90 seconds 4 times an hour, not 2 solid hours. So yes, we are going to be battling at some point, probably now. But we don't really care. We're not all that concerned about it. So how's the patient? Did you set it back up on the...
Yeah, just put it back on the tripod.
Okay. And so this is what we're seeing right here?
That's right there by that red VW and
okay.
sun shining through the window there.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe how ridiculous so lucky we've been all these. I was thinking, again, about the events. This whole week of our Technic Guild International activities at the fairgrounds, no rain, not even the threat of any. Frankly, I wouldn't mind a little rain at this point. I think we could kind of use it, but that's not bad at all. That could have been a few years ago. That would have been rained out every night. Not that I'm hoping to provoke that in any way. True, very true. And it seems like we always get into the drought situation a little closer to harvest, which I guess it's good. Because recalls a few years when it's been really, really wet. You see the tractors out there in the fields buried up to the wheel hubs. I don't know how they ever got some of that out of there. I think some of them might still be there.
Could be.
So what made you really kind of latch onto Google Hangout as, I mean, its value I think is pretty obvious, but you use Google a lot for a lot of things and just about every Google service, obviously. But I mean, I don't use it nearly as much as you do, but there must be an advantage or you wouldn't be using it so much. So what was it that kind of made a believer out of you?
It's free.
Well, that's good. That's good too.
That's kind of how I tell my clients, that I work with, is that in the beginning we get all the free stuff. While we're learning, right now we're learning. This is our first Google Hangout that we've done for commercial and business. It's not going to be our last, I'm certain, but it doesn't cost us a lot except in our time and our effort to learn and all of that kind of thing. That's what it is involved.
That's what the real investment is.
Free is not free.
Mm-hmm.
If you value your own time, which of course I do, it's not free.
Mm-hmm.
I have gone to school. I don't care what anybody says. I may not have a few letters behind my name, but I've gone through the school of learning all these different technologies and thinking how to use them and the best applications for business to use them. I mean, I think this is just cool the way we're doing it now, and I can see the future for it. I think it's the kind of thing to do this a little more often, a little more different ways that you can do it, different things we can incorporate into this that could make this a huge success.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, people don't really even know this stuff's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The people here, they're great. They're car guys. They love what they do. They don't know the technology. They don't want to know the technology. Most of my clients don't want to know the stuff. They don't want.
They want to do their business.
Yes.
Which is not reasonable request.
Of course not. That's why I keep saying, my services are done for you.
Let us do this stuff.
I do this stuff, and you don't have to learn it. You don't have to know it. focusing on your business and make your money.
Mhm.
That's what we do. We focus on your business and how to make it work for you.
Exactly. It's a pretty major thing, the shift in empowerment as far as the way that technology has kind of shifted the, I don't know, Daryl Hall called it the gatekeepers. He was happy because the internet had made it possible for musicians to bypass conventional radio. And he said, no more gatekeepers. Now, that didn't make radio happy, but it makes musicians happy. And if you see him, he's even got a live TV show down that's syndicated where basically it takes place in a building on his farm, I guess it is. And he invites in all kinds of people you wouldn't expect Daryl Hall and John Oates to want to gig with, but they really do. And it's actually, I haven't even seen John Oates that much, but Daryl Hall, but he was always the major challenge in that group anyway, so I think he's probably just being merciful to his former partner, which is awfully nice of him. At any rate, the shift in technological advantages has really put so much power and so much control so quickly in the hands of the consumer that a lot of folks don't even realize just exactly what they can do yet.
No, they don't. A lot of people don't know what they can do, how to use it. You know, it seems intimidating, and I spend hours learning it, but I have to learn it to a different level than the average user.
Sure.
I have to know some of the ins and outs that somebody that just wanted to join in on this hangout and watch with us, or so. See how foolish we're making ourselves look. They could.
And if I had to do over, I would have said 1 hour, by the way, as opposed to 2.
Yeah, because we'd almost be done.
Or we would have more interviews.
Yeah.
We'd be duct taping someone to a chair and making them talk to us. But that's all right. We're not concerned.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that a lot of even these salespeople don't realize how to use these tools or even how it's changed. In that, customers now for shopping for cars, where do they shop for cars? Online.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And people know that. Car dealerships know that. That's why they invest what they do in their websites and in social media and all that kind of thing. But there's still more that can be done with video. People don't realize YouTube is now larger than the broadcast network. There are more people that tune into YouTube.
Say that again.
More people tune into YouTube every week. I'm not sure if it's a day, week, month, or a year. I can't remember how that statistic broke down. But last year, it was reported that more people watched YouTube than they watched the 3 or 4 major networks.
Now that is, by any definition, remarkable. And that took place within about a 10-year period.
Yeah.
That a century and then some old technology was displaced within 10 years by something that was really just envisioned and created about 20 years ago. That is remarkable by any definition, at the risk of repeating myself. I mean, that's...
Yeah, no, it's true, it is.
It's the biggest game changer since, what? The industrial age?
Yeah.
The invention of the wheel?
Agreed.
It's a major, major shakeup. And it happens so quickly that, as we were saying, we're still not even used to it. And we've got our faces into it a lot more than, you more so than me, more than probably most people.
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt about it.
No arguments there. Huh?
No arguments there. Everybody I talk to just gives me this blank stare like, I don't care. They don't care what I do. They don't want to know. It's
just get me some publicity and make it work.
Too much information.
Mm-hmm.
Too hard to keep up. Too hard to understand. And so it's and I understand that. I just deal with it every day. But it is happening. It has happened, actually. It's just that people haven't yet come up to what has happened.
Mm-hmm. And what all is
area.
possible.
Yeah.
But just finding out and figuring out what's possible on a day-to-day basis is huge. It's just one good example of the way that younger demographics use technology differently than their parents and grandparents is that I don't remember what this was, but it was something that I shared on my Facebook page. And my great niece, I had never heard of this kid. She did something major on Facebook or on YouTube. She had her own YouTube channel and was just, messing around. And my great niece said, I've been watching her for years. I'd never even heard of her. It was a kid with a YouTube channel. And my great niece, Gracie, knew exactly who she was and had been paying attention to her for years. So
I've made a few of those discoveries recently too. There's people that are popular on YouTube that I have no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a million followers on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of them have a million and a half people watch them. And okay, by broadcast standards, that's not a large audience, but at times thousands and thousands.
When you consider that it's a 13-year-old kid sitting in their room in Middle America.
Being silly,
or not,
being a silly kid, yeah, 14-year-old girl with makeup and hair and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who cares? But she's got a million followers. How does that happen? I don't know. It is happening.
Mm-hmm. And it has.
Yes, all the time.
Since the celebrity press is so inescapable now, there's no such thing as a legitimate news network anymore, which is another reason that things like YouTube have become so popular, because if you want real news, it might take a little bit more to find it, but the celebrity press and the nonsensical fixation on the Kardashians kind of thing. I was channel surfing past one of those ridiculous, inescapable, one of the celebrity shows, OK or something, I don't even know what it was, some sort of celebrity news nonsense. And they were following this girl around who I had certainly never seen. Sun changed position. There we go. Worth a try.
Since you're kind of talking to me.
Yeah. The disembodied voice. I wonder if I don't want all the camera time. In fact, you know me, I don't really want any of it. Mic time, yeah, that I'll do. Camera time, not quite so comfortable with. There's a reason I did audio all those years. At any rate, they were chasing this girl around, like those idiots do, paparazzi types. And they finally identified her as YouTube star so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
Broadcast network people were following a YouTube star.
There's one on Big Brother or something.
Oh, really?
I saw a commercial I did, and one of its titles was YouTube Celebrity.
Wow. That's remarkable.
I've never heard of the kid, but it's like late teen, early 20 or something. But I think that's the kind of world it is. It's so fragmented that business owners have to get educated into this kind of stuff, or at least let somebody like us help them, guide them, because there's just so much. There's just so many channels. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of channels that businesses can advertise on, because they're legitimate places where their customers are.
Exactly.
Like Facebook, like Instagram, on and on. There's a bunch of Pinterest, and if you're trying to reach teens, there's a couple of new ones on the rise that I can't think of their names right now. I just read about the last couple of weeks, but there's lots of those kinds of channels too as well.
There's one called, is it Imgur? I don't know how it's pronounced. IMGUR.com. I think one of my nieces uses that a lot. They like Tumblr, I know.
Tumblr is big.
Oh yeah.
It does have try to follow them, and a lot of those are because they stream the news. It's like now I get more of my news, or almost as much as my news, from Facebook as I do from the local TV radio broadcasts. Because it's the first thing I do in the morning is on Facebook. Because I manage a lot of Facebook profiles, and I'm monitoring, and watching, and so that's
Same here.
That's my business. Yep,
Yes.
It's our business that we're doing, and so yeah, it's the kind of thing that's where and so I've liked those local channels, and what they do put on there sometimes gets through in my feeds. I won't get into the other aspects of why I'm not getting more of it, but
It is true, if you like too many things, it might vary if you really want to see.
That can happen.
That's a discussion I know that happens, is why don't I ever see this? Well, it's probably on your page, but it's probably getting buried by something you don't care about as much.
Yeah.
And if they're more prolific, say this page is more prolific than this page, would you like this page better? Say this one's a local media outlet, and you really want to see what they have to say, but some national one does something every 15 or 20 minutes, then those are going to accumulate and vary possibly what you really want to see.
Could happen. Yeah, the Facebook algorithms, Google algorithms, I am not a mathematician. I have no idea really how they work. Not much idea.
Yeah.
I have a general idea how they work and how they deliver the information that they provide. But beyond that, it's a lot to know.
So the point of this discussion is that the reason we're doing this Google Hangout and talking Sonics and financing and pickups is because that's where people are. This is what they want to know. This is what they need to know. And so we wanted to do our best to help them learn it. And go ahead.
What we did on Facebook this week was a little bit of advertising that we did. I mean, what did we just look at? Over 5,000% increase in post reach or post engagement. The one was
Post reach, I think, with 5,200%.
Yeah, 5,000% increase over the week before. That's a fairly significant increase, I guess. Over 18,000 people saw our feed. That normally. And we have a lot of clients that we see that we've worked with. Maybe they get 15, 20, 25 views on each post that they do.
And that's reasonably common, isn't it?
Yes, it's very common. It's very common. I've seen that on places that have, hundreds of likes or even more, into the thousands of likes that are getting low of reach sometimes. Usually those, if they got that much, the way the numbers work out is if you have 1,000 likes, about 16% of them will show up for the free organic side of the outlet. But if you add a few dollars in paid advertising, $10 up.
Or 5,200 times.
Yeah, something like that.
If you have a really interesting little video to go with it.
Video makes a huge difference.
Oh, it does.
Or even just pictures make a difference. And one of the things that people do is businesses need to be more social on social media. It's not
the 80-20 formula.
It's the 80-20 formula. 80%
Would you explain
social.
that, please?
80% of your posts should be social. They should be,
meaning not hard sell.
Right. Not community event fun. If you had a company picnic and you put pictures on there, or if somebody's being silly and they had in the office and you take a picture, post that up there. Show the people that you're real. That your business is run by real people. That makes your business more attractive to buyers.
Well, it makes them more comfortable with
Right.
it. I mean, people aren't attracted to buildings or institutions it's other people that they connect with.
Well, and what I've said about, how we've been talking a little bit about how advertising has changed is that it's no longer about the business, it's about the customer. It's about what your customer wants. It's the information that they're searching for. That's what your business has to provide them when they're looking for it. Not when it's convenient for your business. Traditional advertising has always been, we need to run a sale this weekend. It's about broadcasting because it's me. I need to sell cars, or I need to sell this or sell that. People don't respond to that as well as they once did because we've all become ad blinded. We see so much advertising that we just tune it out. We can't.
Well, and also, as we were discussing the other day, people have become so inured to the idea of things being customized for them.
Yes.
That it isn't novel anymore if you customize it. It's expected. And people I think that's responsible, frankly, for a lot of the complaints that you hear of uncivil treatment or rude waiters or something like that. It's because they're accustomed to it being about them. It's really hard to get that out of their heads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For me, I've been selling for 35 years, and it's just now started in the last few months even started to sink in how much it's got to be about the customer. What's going to work for them? What do they want to know? That's what you've got to provide them when they're looking, and that's how it works now. It's about interests. Today I said something to somebody that interest is a more important demographic than men 18 to 49. Because people, if you're targeting their interests, that's the moment they're buying. That's what you want to do. If like in the car business, if somebody's looking for a car, they're shopping around.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be in front of them, and they're shopping around.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that with another thing called remarketing. That's another topic
Yes.
that we can talk about another time. But
And let's do that another time.
And yes, but it's the coolest because I've been doing it for other clients and it works. It works actually. So,
Speaking of targeting for the customer,
yeah,
I really don't know how you get any more specific than something like the Chevy Sonic. I mean, they sat down and they thought about what people want and what people need and what is what today's customer needs.
Mhm.
You know, the day of having the block-long vehicle is gone unless you really need that. You know, need a motorhome because that's where you're living, then okay. And if you need an SUV, there's SUVs always take some clobbering since they're they're big and they're gas guzzlers. But if you live in this part of the country where there's snow and ice and you sometimes have to pull your friend out of the ditch, you need an SUV or you need a pickup specifically.
stuff, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're working vehicles. They're not.
Right.
I do get a kick out of seeing in warmer climates where people are just driving around because of it. No. Around here,
they're work trucks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually took some grief from someone that I didn't really know well on Facebook once about that. As well, you're driving that gas guzzler. I said, hello, do you know how much snow we got here? Last year and the year before, there was a whole lot. I mean, it's pretty major for, I think, especially women, and who might be a little more inclined to have kids in the car.
Yeah.
Not me, but,
That makes sense.
you know, I mean, and that's the stereotypical thinking, I realize, but I don't think a guy by himself is going to be any more fond of the idea of getting stuck in snow. If you need a pickup or you need an SUV, you need it.
Sure.
That's all there is to it.
And they got good ones. Got some really cool trucks there I was looking at earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Some big drive-through cabs.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That was another innovation that really made a difference, I think, with respect to pickup sales, was because it used to be that either you could haul things or you could haul people. And once they caught on and started doing, putting the back, what a friend of mine used to call a back seat pickup, that was huge because then you could take something, go and buy the lumber to build your whatever, or go buy the furniture and still take maybe the whole family with you.
Yeah.
So that was a major development in the pickup market. Yes, we have a phone sitting right here on the desk by us. Now, I wanted to ask you also, is this stored on your YouTube channel then, or will it be? Okay.
It will be.
So we can go back and pick ourselves to pieces on this, watch it later. I'm doing that now. I probably won't need to do it again later. But
Yeah, we'll be able to. It will be live on my YouTube channel because I set up this event for my personal tech advertising channel. We'll be there. Available to replay.
Okay.
I was going to watch 2 hours of us all over again.
I'm not.
And I noticed that people kind of come and go too. I've been
Yes,
watching
true,
that too.
true.
I don't blame them. I wouldn't be sitting here for 2 hours
Exactly.
watching me. You're a nice person, Colleen, but
Let's just say, back at you.
sit there and listen to you talk for 2 hours.
Yeah,
for not,
exactly. I don't want to listen to me talk for 2 hours. I don't think anybody will. Exactly.
We are, like I said, this is a first-time event. I'm having fun. So I just think it's cool and really work. Just even play it afterwards and see a little bit of it, of course. I do have remember a setting in there that's kind of called DVR, so you can kind of be able to control it like a DVR.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be able to fast forward through the boring parts of it.
Good. Well, that pretty much be the. Nah, never mind. We're being Weisenheimers because that's who we are. But right now it is about 6:08, it looks like, and we are going to be doing this until 7 o'clock tonight. And we do anticipate that lots of folks will be. That was part of the reason I asked that question, is because, again, people want things when they want them.
Yes.
If it wasn't convenient for them to watch this live feed right now, they can go back and watch it whenever the mood moves them. And you mentioned that it's possible to fast forward through things, which is again, it's all about the consumer now, and they're just not going to take it any other way. They're just not going to do it.
No, we're on demand now.
Mhm.
Everything is on demand. It's
Mhm.
what I want to watch. I DVR most of my programs and watch them when I want to watch them. Fast forward through the other things there. Yeah, but I used to sell. And so it's in Netflix and Roku and all those other Xbox.
Just having that discussion earlier today too.
It's all becoming on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I got Netflix for $8 a month. If I want to watch a movie, they're pretty good selection. They don't have every movie.
My sister has Netflix, has for ages.
Yeah, I have two. I've had it for years now. And most often it's when the grandkids come over and they want to watch some cartoon, and it's like, okay, I can bring up the Ninja Turtles on Netflix, and that works for them. Mm-hmm. So it's like I say, it's on demand kind of thing, and that's what it is.
And hence the reason that we're doing this.
Yes.
Because this is just the kind of thing, again, that people simply expect. They expect it now.
They will come, yes. And really, when you say that, it's people are, I say, let's just say under 30, 35 and under. My kids' age, they're all, I got a son-in-law that used to live with me, and he was on his phone on Facebook every night. Mm-hmm. Instant watch TV.
Didn't even have a desktop or a laptop, did he? It was all on his phone.
He had a desktop, but he never got it working again. Or he had it working and quit. But, he was on his phone all the time. And that's where people are now. Mm-hmm. They do things on Facebook and other things on the internet and computers.
It's really kind of entertaining. I love silly old sci-fi. The worse the special effects are, the better I like it. Yeah. That might even be too cheesy for me. Although when I was, 6, I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
Right in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. But movies especially are just beyond silly. But the one that is really entertaining to watch and that you can tell that a lot of honest-to-God scientists watch is Star Trek. Because if you see the communicator, this is smaller. My phone, smaller than Captain Kirk's communicator. Dick Tracy's wrist radio, now a reality.
Yeah.
And video phone on his wearable. That's, again, what we were talking about with respect to wearable technology. Mm-hmm. It was an obvious next step, and in fact, it was such a huge leap forward that there are some folks who think that it's as the result of reverse-engineered alien technology taken from the crashed flying saucer in Roswell. So.
Okay, you say so.
I'm not one of those people, but I mean, that's how fantastic that is. And if you look at a lot of the special effects, you can tell that someone got inspired by them to create an actual thing. Wearable technology being the most notable, I think.
Yeah, well, I agree with you there, because the watch phones are coming out now look just like the Dick Tracy ones in the 50s and cartoons. It's exactly the same. Mm-hmm. I saw that one time. Wow, they look exactly alike.
And you wonder if they even realized it when they were creating it, or if that was really brilliant marketing approach. Make it look as much like Dick Tracy as you possibly can. Or if it was just so planted in their unconscious. Yeah, let's do that. Let's create this thing.
Could be. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, I guess.
So our first ever Google Hangout here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen in Mason City is we're really pretty happy about the way things are going. I'm seeing a fair amount of traffic out there on the line.
Yeah, this has been outside.
Mm-hmm. And either that or it's really nice out, which of course it is. But yeah, I mean there's no downside to this. There's no downside to doing this kind of thing in order to attract or to really serve your customers, because that's really what this is about now, is serving customers and doing so in such a way that is more convenient for them. And part of that, I think, is the fact that most of us now are just so pressed for time. And there's another argument that can be made that says that people take on more because they can do more. and you can multitask in so many ways and on so many things that there's some technology exhaustion, I think, sometimes.
Every night. Like,
Am I preaching to the choir there?
every night, I'm like, okay, turn it off. 'Cause I need
Your eyes are bleeding.
Yeah.
Well, and the old joke about get the kid to program the VCR. I remember when those first came out, no one could program the VCR, but everybody's 12-year-old. Here, have your kid do it. And they did. Their pliable little brains can pick that stuff up faster. So
I did.
I understand. I understand.
Big surprise, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm shocked, personally.
We got the VCRs, the 8-tracks, and all those things. I used to have an 8-track recorder.
Get out.
Home. Yeah.
Seriously?
I did.
Wow.
It would record 8-tracks. I never really did get it to work right good, I don't think. What do you do with an
But that was-
8-track?
yeah, exactly.
You had to record an 8-track from what to what? I think I recorded off the radio, maybe.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
It was not uncommon.
back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. The kind of the beginning of the mixtape there.
Yeah, before cassettes.
I was just, yeah. Remember when a cassette player was a big deal?
Oh, yeah.
And now there are cars sitting 10 feet from us that have dashboard computers where there is internet access available in the dashboard. And again, not a luxury option.
No,
That is downright commonplace.
Yep, and that's where, you know, they can take their iPods or their iPhones and they plug them into the car and play their music through.
Mm-hmm.
Or iHeartRadio or whatever the different apps are that are out there, Pandora and stuff. There's some of those out there that people are using now.
Another good example of customization. You know, it was a few years ago in radio, which is the medium that I worked in for quite a while. It was said that the reason the playlists, the song playlists, were so tightly controlled was that the first time the listener heard a song they didn't like, bang, they were out of there. And that was used as evidence of the short attention span of the listener. Now, they're talking about playing only halves of songs on terrestrial radio because they're that concerned about the attention span of the listener. Isn't that something?
They're playing half a song?
Half the songs, what they're talking about. I don't know if anyone's actually doing it, but that's a discussion because people's attention spans have shortened up that much. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so as well. So
On my blog, I wrote an article called Ad Blindness. That's a similar kind of thing that like we were talking a little bit ago. People don't see advertising anymore unless you're in the market. If I'm shopping for a car, I see car advertising everywhere.
it's going to show you what you want to see. Here's exactly what we were talking about here in the spec. Chevrolet MyLink radio is apparently standard in the 2004 Chevrolet Sonic. It's AM/FM radio with AM/FM stereo, with seek and scan and digital clock. Includes Bluetooth, streaming audio for music and select phones, voice recognition for compatible phone, Pandora, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and Siri Eyes-Free voice recognition smartphone compatible. All functions controlled through I believe it's a 7-inch diagonal color touchscreen. Deletes car slot on the, deletes car slot. Oh, I see, on center console. No CD player included. They're not even bothering with that anymore.
No. CDs are blown away of albums.
Mm-hmm.
And 8-tracks. Yeah.
Let's see, audio for the audio system includes, and another level includes AM/FM stereo with CD player and MP3 playback, WMA, which I should know and I don't.
Windows Media Audio.
Oh, thank you, Smarty Pants. Windows Media Audio, seek and scan, digital clock, digital. I'm sure you're right. Bluetooth audio streaming and digit-dial. Of course, Sirius XM satellite radio included in some. More audio system features here. Cargo privacy shade, bottle holders. Those are never going to go out of style, are they?
No.
Shades of Homer Simpson. Lots of lighting options, of course, and cruise control, which for a long time they called speed control. And the only place you ever saw that was in the data books at car dealerships. Now they're just saying, yes, it's cruise control. That's what it is. What everyone else calls it, let's us call it that. So there's But really, this is on the Chevrolet Sonic, which is, anybody should be able to afford this. Almost everyone. I mean, it's pretty major. OnStar is available. That was a very high-end luxury option not that long ago. Let's see, power outlet, auxiliary, front center console, new rear vision camera. I know, I'm fixated on the camera, sorry. It's a new thing for me. Remote keyless entry, that, my vehicle has that, and I have never once used it. I don't think I even know what the combination is. I should probably program that thing before I drive it right out of existence, which is going to happen soon. The point is that there a lot of things that used to be really high-end features on just the very highest end vehicles are now not only commonplace, but in many cases standard on what might be considered the lower price range. I mean, $15,000 for a brand new car?
Yeah.
You're just not going to see that very often at all.
No.
At least you didn't used to.
It's a nice little car for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we said, excellent for school car. The financing options available at First Credit, which is the financing arm here of Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen, and that is targeted probably to the pre-owned vehicles. But again, you don't want to buy a limousine for the kids to run back and forth in, or maybe for your work car. Maybe you want to give the kids a better car because you don't want to have to worry about that. He's giving me this. Of course, that's what I'm going to do. Look. I don't have kids, but you do.
No, not necessarily. My kids drove junkers because they all had little fender benders.
Okay.
So you don't give them the best.
My brothers had a few of those. I don't think you can actually get through it more than about 5 years with a driver's license without having at least one.
Yeah, I've had a couple.
Let's not talk about that.
No.
It's too painful.
That's right.
It's just too darn painful. 21 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock now at the first ever Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen Google Hangout. Now, this is something that can be done. I mean, as it happens, you're pretty techie and you're real well versed on this, and you set this up. But if you know what you're doing, pretty much anyone can do one of these, can't they?
Sure. Yeah, it is. It's possible for anybody to do it, really. It's just all going through your Google Plus profile.
Mm-hmm. And what has been referred to as the democratization of the technology, and just exactly how available it is with nothing more than consumer electronics. I mean, they're so sophisticated now that it's just really an amazing and interesting thing. That reminds me, how are we? When did we want to do the giveaways? Did we want to pick from the invites, or should we talk about that after we get off the air here?
After we get
Okay.
off, we'll do that.
That is
We'll send out emails.
okay.
Or private message from Facebook.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. So there are some.
We'll get a hold of you
Yeah.
if you want.
Yes, indeed. If you want something, you will hear from
But
us.
you did have to like the page or share the page, join in on this event in order to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have thousands of people here, so it's just a few.
Mhm.
There's only a few that are, we're going to win.
Well, this is who's seeing it live. There's YouTube will let you count how many people watch it, how many views you have
Yes.
on your YouTube page.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've
Okay.
been watching this number here go up and down. The whole thing. I think we've been on long enough people tuned in, so we're seeing a lot of new people coming in now, but that's okay. We said we'd do it till 7, so we'll stick it out.
Mhm. And again, it's the very nature of on demand. No one's even accustomed to having to sit down and watch something or listen to something at a specific time anymore, because if it's not available later on demand, then they're probably not interested in it.
It will be.
But it will be, yeah.
But we're not providing unique enough information here that, this was just kind of a trial run, a fun thing to do, and, it was more about what we did on Facebook. It looks like our tablet died.
Oh,
Maybe the battery went out,
Battery
I don't know.
yeah.
Could be, or we lost
we've
Wi-Fi.
asked a lot of it lately, so
Could be.
I am leafing through the Sonic options again. I wish next time we were definitely going to duct tape a salesperson to a chair. and
Yeah.
make them be interviewed a little bit here. But here's something I don't think I've seen before. Hill Start Assist is an option on the 2014 Chevy Sonic, as in if you're on a hill.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
That's what it
guessing
sounds
that.
like.
Well, it's in the same section with the brakes, and the battery, and the suspension. So
we used to just
engine
pop the clutch,
immobilizer.
try to get it going on the hill and pop the clutch. That's how we started them in the old days. Maybe that's what it's
Okay, hot rod, Essie.
I've done it before.
Okay, me too, but not for a really long time.
No,
I don't know if I ever actually did it right. The car started, that was all I cared about.
What that means.
It's in the right spot for that, so I'm guessing that's what it is. That was always a major thing. If one of the, I don't even remember which manufacturer it was several years ago, did a shot of an English-made sports car, probably an MG or something, that was on a hill, and it was obviously a manual transmission. When he went to take off from the stop sign, naturally it rolled backwards for a little bit, and so I think it was one of the,
Okay.
well, I'm guessing it's something along those lines.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, traction control, that's
That
that's
makes sense. Yeah, it wouldn't roll backwards.
It's a major annoyance.
Oh yeah, I remember learning how to drive a clutch. That was yeah.
My godfather taught me. No kidding.
Right.
The Cassuth County Fairgrounds. Within about a minute, he said, "Oh yeah, you're going to be able to do this." I said, "Cool, thanks, Don." The emissions override. Still looking through the options here. Again with the Chevrolet MyLink radio, and that's part of a promotional package if you want it. And there are of course equipment groups. You know, this goes with this group, and right.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked at a vehicle data book for quite a while, so this is kind of fun for me. But admittedly, I'm easily amused. So
I haven't either. I was in the car business a couple times.
I was right out of high school, but yeah.
Both times for 3 months.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once at a Ford dealer, once at a Chevy dealer.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, shoulder room. Here's what we were talking about a little bit with respect to the amount of headroom and shoulder room that's available in the Chevy Sonic, which frankly looks substantial to me. That looks the old, tall people in the little cars thing, because it's more headroom. They get tired of hitting their heads on top of the car. So here are some figures on what kind of headroom is available. And it all looks like it's in the 38 to 39 range. Published dimensions indicated are without optional equipment. And I'm sure there are some options to adjust the seat, but basically that's it. Curb weight, cargo volume. So bottom line is everybody and their cousin wants a Chevy Sonic. And I think, what do we count, 10 of them?
Yep.
Something like that?
I got in this week.
Mm-hmm. In fact, while we were here doing a little dry run the other day, with transport pulled up that had probably 4 or 5. In fact, I followed one of them. There was one guy who looked, I think he was probably lost. There was one Chevy Sonic on his truck. I was headed downtown to the post office, and I thought, I think you're going the wrong way. Of course, maybe he was, going to Minnesota, but I thought, I'm pretty sure they're expecting at least one more. So that's my little story on the Chevy Sonic truck. Okay. The pickup inventory here is bigger than 10, I'm going to say.
2014s, they've got at least 15.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few 2014s out there. I've noticed 2015s and Alphas and stuff out there. I don't know if you noticed, when I was walking around, I was trying to
get
a 2015, and I'm like, oh, hey, those must have
it
just
used
got
to
here.
be that you were supposed to hide those until the big announcement day. And I think they, do you remember it was, you had to stash it somewhere and cover it up. I'm glad to see they've kind of done away with that foolishness.
You didn't get them until at least September, October.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So it's kind of nice to see that they've, again, on demand. People said, that's silly, stop it. And they actually listened and said, well, okay, if that's what you want, then that's what we'll do. So Nice to see a nice pickup inventory out there. And if you can see behind the pickups there is the first credit sign, which is the financing arm of Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen. And there are, of course, as we've discussed, there are some specific parameters, but still, I'd be very surprised. You'd have to really have major difficulties not to be able to be financed by first credit.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys have been at this for a while.
Yeah, and that was something Steve talked about when we met with him here. He was saying how they've had very great success with getting people financed that other times couldn't. Other places they couldn't get financed, but they were able to get it done here. So that's impressive. If you need a car, I mean, there's times in life when your own car goes, you've got to have it. You've got to finance it. You know, and that's I've been there.
Fact of life nowadays.
Been there, done that, and so you're financing. Sometimes still they're pretty good here getting that done. Sometimes.
I do think it's interesting also that they, guys, are looking to buy used vehicles. That's how people are hanging on to them more. I think when the economy gets bad, they hang on to them a little more. And I mean, sometimes you just want a used vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle. And even if you have one and you're not looking to trade, I think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming it's something that
a lot more.
they need.
You see that a lot more than you used to. It used to be they did that. They probably didn't have to, but now, yeah, the older cars or used cars,
people are driving them until they fall apart. And those are under those circumstances, a nice pre-owned vehicle is tougher to come by than something new. You can just order that whenever you want to.
So there's a good segue back to the Sonic, right?
Exactly.
I knew
That's
it's 150 you're in for a new.
It is.
You know, that's a lot of used car prices for that.
Oh my gosh, yes. You see, what did I say? Foreign car. Someone wanted to sell when it was 10 years old, $28,000 or something. I think it was a Mercedes or something. I mean, come on. Are you really that worried about it?
Most of even those luxury cars lose their value quicker than most people like.
Well, and they're only worth what someone is willing and able to pay for it.
That's exactly it. That's true. True. I talk to business or people who might have a great business idea, and I'm like, is there a market for that? I always ask them. Yeah, would you buy it? Yeah.
No, wouldn't you? That's the thing about Chevrolet, though, is that it has been for decades. I mean, that ad campaign several years ago about baseball, apple pie, hot dogs, and Chevrolet. I mean, that really wasn't much of an exaggeration at all.
No, that's why it was a successful campaign, and you were still remember it. It's probably been 20 years ago.
At least.
Yeah, maybe more than that.
And the heartbeat of America, that was probably 20 years old. And baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet was before that. And I know too much about this subject. Clearly, this is. I know I'm a car chick. What do you want from me?
We're in media. You can do
I'm a car chick.
Oh, okay.
No choice about it.
Okay. Yeah. I like them with four wheels and an engine, so they get where I want to go.
I was actually at an event a while back where a guy, there was a classic cars thing, and there, people were pulling up with their pride and joy, and one guy rolled up in about a '69 Camaro, I think it was, and I recognized the sound of his exhaust and said, "Are those glass packs on that thing?" And he said, "You have got to be kidding me."
You know glass packs?
I do. I couldn't believe I still recognize that. That's a distinctive sound. And if I tried to describe it right now, I couldn't do it. But if somebody pulled up with it, I'd know it.
Yeah.
It's just
like
funny how those things stick in your. Oh,
Harley has a distinctive sound. You know it coming.
That distinctive throaty rumble. Nothing else sounds like it. 25 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock. I'm just kind of having a little flashback here to my.
I say you sound like a DJ there.
What are the odds?
I don't know. What are the odds?
At our first ever Google Hangout here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen. And we want to talk especially, of course, about our financing. We've been doing quite a little bit of Chevy Sonics, which is a nice correlation there between the two, as you mentioned, since it is ridiculously inexpensive, especially for what you're getting. When you were walking around showing us the interior there, That doesn't look
It's
like.
nice looking interior.
It really is. It's much. It used to be that if it was an inexpensive vehicle, the place where you could really tell was the interior, because that's where they'd try to save the money to not like the dashboard. You could tell right away if it was tinny looking or something.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, nowadays they don't look that much different.
No.
It's really interesting how they've brushed that up and really upped the game on that.
Make the interior look a little more like
higher end.
I guess that's the word I was looking for.
Well, it'll have to do for now.
More than
Anyway.
it does. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Well, and again, some of those options that it's just amazing are even included in a car in that price range. It's even possible to get it on a vehicle in that price range, but it's such a, again, with the camera. Again, with the backup camera. But I can think of, I know of at least one person who would be alive if their parent had had a backup camera, because there was a child behind the car and the parent ran over the child. And that poor soul was never the same after that. Seriously.
Oh, I'm sure.
That poor thing was just never the same. And I don't know how you could be.
No,
Just that's not something you recover from. And that's a little bit of a melodramatic segue there that I'm going to have to apologize for. But I guess that's probably why I think that's such a big deal. If he had the camera, he would have known. He simply would have known, and that's all there is to it. So I thought that about cell phones when they were first available, that was the greatest safety feature in the history of the world.
Right down in the middle of nowhere, and you can still call and get some help.
There was
having to walk for a mile or two.
Or if you're running the ditch in a blizzard, exactly.
Yep, in a blizzard, you could still get a call out.
And at least have a chance. All anyone's really looking for here is a chance. So there was a young college student who disappeared a number of years ago, and they thought she had had a breakdown. In fact, I think they might have found her car. And that's still an open case. It's an open cold case that this young woman disappeared. I believe, it was in Iowa, around Grinnell or somewhere. But if she had I remember doing a live remote at a cell phone place, and we didn't use this on the air, of course, but I remember saying to the folks around the place, if she'd had a cell phone, she could probably, there's a very good chance that she would have been okay. But as it was, she probably had to accept help from the next person who came along, and that person may not have been such a nice person. So you hate to think in those terms, but these are very real concerns.
Yeah. So technology is a good thing. Can be.
Yeah, it absolutely. And like anything else, it can be abused, of course. But
well, I like to say that technology is nothing more than a reflection of human nature. It's a reflection. The internet is a reflection of who we are.
And if we don't like what we see, then
that's how it gets changed. Start on this. Yeah.
Exactly. Start in the mirror.
Gee, who said that? I bet you know.
I do. As a matter of fact. Actually, there's a song in there somewhere too, but we're not running with that one. Yeah, really. Enough already. 20 minutes before 7 o'clock here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen, 721 South Monroe in Mason City. It is the first ever Google Hangout, and we really encourage you. Obviously, the idea is not necessarily that you're going to come thundering in here right now, because people just aren't going to do that anymore.
No.
We're just not going to. They expect it to be customized, and that's what we're doing. So this is available on your YouTube channel, and I guess if we'll check with Steve and the guys and see if they want a Schukei YouTube channel, but that would certainly be easy enough to do. And I mean, there are certainly tech-savvy people around here who could upload stuff to it. Once we listen to me, once we got it done, once you set it up for them.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. That's what I tell people I do. I set businesses up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the hardest thing sometimes. That's where the work is in the setup. And when I first began this business, I was trying really hard to charge setup fees, but people don't like setup fees, so I've done a lot of tweaking with my pricing and things like that, and now I think more in terms of give me a time commitment and then tell me what you can spend, and I'll fit the budget to what I'll give you.
As much as I can within those parameters.
Yeah, and usually you get a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple different clients in the past year that I've built their websites, I do their social media, I set up their YouTube and their LinkedIn and their different channels and all these different things. And over the course of time, every month I'm doing a little, every month I'm doing something for them. I've got clients that now are really, really happy that it's working for them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because I set them up the way that it needs to be, the way like Google requires and things like that, so that you can actually draw the people to you, to your business when they're looking.
When it's convenient for them
When it's
and when they're interested. Now, other things on your YouTube channel, I just have to mention that I told you before, I think you're a terrific teacher. I mean, you're really, you are quite possibly better at explaining things in a clearer way than most anybody in the technology field that I've heard so far. and I really, and I mean, but that's what a lot of your YouTube channel is, isn't it?
Mhm.
Instructional videos?
Yeah, I've done quite a few videos. A lot of times what I do, and in fact what I plan to do for Schukei here when we're done tomorrow, I'm going to make a video of how their Facebook performed and all that. It'll be 2, 3, 4 minutes long, and we'll hit the high points so that they understand it, and it's not too much information, because obviously when you're dealing with analytics and that kind of thing, it can get rather dry. But, you know, for a business owner, there's certain information they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
They should know about their advertising and about their business and how it's, what the public perception is, and all those different things that we can follow and track. So, I mean, but with this, I'll show how it worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
I did that way,
Mm-hmm.
which is huge. I mean, when I sold television, I couldn't come back to my clients and say, "Yeah, your ad ran last week, and 10,000 people saw your ad."
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it, but I can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
I can say exactly, you know, and obviously there, with every advertising, every type of advertising has its limitations and all that, but I've never worked with advertising that I could actually tell people through, because of their interests and their actions that they're taking on social media and on websites and that kind of thing. We can tell how well an advertisement worked. That's why I talk about doing the free stuff first. So if you do the free advertising and you figure out what works, then you throw a little money at it,
Mm-hmm.
and it works even better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Well, as we were
that's-
seeing in the post reach for the Schukei Facebook page, 18,700. Unheard of. I mean, at least under most circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, because frequently it's 17 or 18, and that's not just theirs, that's anybody's. Because, and part of that is because of the way Facebook works,
Yeah.
is that they winnow down the things that they are seeing that you look at the most, or that you click on the most, or that you like the most. And so if it seems like, you know, you have 2,000 friends and all of a sudden you're only really seeing things from maybe 20 of them, that's why, because there are those you interact with a little more commonly and frequently, and those that you don't. And some of the, you know, some of the bigger sites, like the news sites and the White House has a Facebook page, for heaven's sake. So there are all kinds of things there as well. So.
And it used to be a year or two ago, Facebook was free media, perceived free. But of course, the plan has always been to monetize it. People
Of
never
course,
thought of it.
why do it otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, okay, the guys that started it are kind of, they wanted to be altruistic and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
but, you know, hey, there's a real word, you gotta pay bills. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg really cares anymore.
Mhm, I don't think he does.
Yeah,
He's a billionaire, he's got a pretty girl, he doesn't care.
yeah, he's just doing what he wants to do. So, but my point is that they had to change it to a paid medium to be able, of course, when they went public, they got stockholders, all that stuff now that they got to satisfy. But it's a paid public paid advertising medium, just like radio, TV, newspaper has always been. You know, they have free TV and free radio, but you know, it's advertiser supported. It's not free, except to the listener and viewer. Same thing with the internet and Facebook. It was free to the end user, but businesses are actually drive that growth. Well, Facebook, in order to transition to a paid medium, I had to, you know, reduce the number of free things they were giving.
Sure.
And I've read where on average, a Facebook post, or excuse me, a Facebook feed gets 1,500 items a day hitting it. So their algorithms are set up to actually whittle that down to show you what you want to see. If otherwise, I mean, how could anybody sort through 1,500 posts a day? None of us could.
Nor would you want to.
No. So, that they're controlling it.
If you were trying to do that, you would have absolutely no life.
You'd have no life, yeah. You'd be on there 24/7.
And that's not a good thing.
No, even for me.
We've laughed about that ourselves. Just
12 hour days on a computer.
Wow.
Sometimes get to be much, but that's okay. I like it. But the point is that it's, it's a paid medium, but it's by far the cheapest paid medium that there is. I mean, what you can reach to reach 18,000 people is way less than what you could spend in any other medium. Way less. That's the strength of it. That's what I think is cool about what I'm doing. And that's why we wanted to do this for Schukei.
And again, part of the strength of this is that it is now available on demand.
Yep.
It's not. If we were expecting this vast crowd crushing in here, I certainly wasn't, because I know, and you know, that that's not the way people behave anymore.
No.
They have things to do. And as we were saying, there's plenty to do around here tonight. There's the PGI event tonight at the fairgrounds. There is Thursdays on Main and Clear Lake. There are any number of other things. People are still getting ready for school. There's still school shopping going on.
Sure.
In fact, there are some schools that have started already.
Yeah, I heard some of them started this week. Yeah,
I think that's ridiculous myself, but that's another subject. Are they trying to? We only get about 3 months worth of summer around here. Really, and you want to take that away from us? But that's another ballgame.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that we kind of tossed this together just to see what we could, to do it. I don't want to call it a dry run because we did that the other day, but just to get everybody comfortable with the idea and to be able to look out onto the lot and see all of those pickup trucks that, let's face it, this is still an ag-based economy in this state. And even if you're not, I know a dozen people who are not farmers who have pickups.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people. I see a lot of women driving trucks. They like trucks.
Used to be that would be something we could laugh about, but not anymore.
Oh, no. Not anymore. My wife was dually diesel.
Did she really?
Oh, yeah. When we
You
first
go
got
on
married,
that.
She had a because I hated diesels.
Well, you've got a point there. The sound and the smell of the diesel that can be a little bit different. But yeah, exactly. But the bottom line is, she has been in the interior decorating business, painting business, and so she needed to haul stuff.
Yeah.
She probably had paint cans and ladders and all manner of things that she needed to take from point A to point B. And speaking as one who has destroyed the interiors of a few cars by hauling sound equipment in them, finally you just give up and get a freight vehicle. That's all you can do. Otherwise, I used to have an old Toronado with a red crushed velvet interior, which tells you a little bit about how old that thing was. Yeah, I never even used to plow the driveway. I just aimed the thing in there. 5,400 pounds. I felt invincible, and actually someone hit it one time, nearly destroyed their vehicle. I think they might have loosened the motor a little bit on the Tornado. But the bottom line there is that the trunk was fairly deep. It was a two-door, so it wasn't easy to wrestle speakers in and out of that back seat, but I did it. And frankly, if SUVs had been commonly available at the time, or if I didn't think I'd look ridiculous driving a pickup, I might have bought one. But at the time, that just wasn't something girls did.
Yeah.
If you drove a pickup, many things were assumed that you were a cowgirl or something, and even cowgirls were a little hesitant about that. So that is one thing that has been very nice about the developments within the light truck business in the last 20, 25 years, is essentially the normalization of everybody driving a pickup. You see kids with station wagons now. We used to tease them within an inch of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
But now, maybe they... No, they don't. They really don't.
I got a car and it gets me around. That's
Really?
all I care about.
Really, that's something that impresses me about some of the I don't know, Gen Xers or the millennials, is that they're way less worried about that than.
They're not as stuff.
To some extent they are, but it's this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This technology, again, is what that's what trips their triggers. And that's why we have to do what we're doing here, to be able to talk to those folks. It is just about 10 minutes before 7 o'clock here at Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen at the first ever Google Hangout. And I don't know about you, but I'm having a great time.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. I've had a good time. It's great. Watch this number go up and down a little bit. People come and go because they're going to want to watch us, like, and I don't blame them.
Now, is it going to be possible to edit this and maybe put some snippets of it in different places, or is that technology available on YouTube?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, actually, there is. You can edit videos right on YouTube. Yeah,
But it's probably very time
I've never
consuming.
done it. Yeah, because anything you do web-based like that, it's going to take time. Uploading, downloading, transferring data, stuff like that. But it would be possible. I could download the video and edit it and do snippets and things like that out of there too. So maybe that's something I would do. That we could actually do that. Pick a couple.
I'm not saying it
highlights.
needs doing. I'm not sure there's anything that might be all that.
We didn't do anything ground shaking here.
Well, again, if we only had someone to interview, I would really like to know more about the pickup inventory. I'd like to know some specifics about the financing. I'd like to know how many more Sonics we're expecting, but people in Hill want ice water, and they're not getting that either. So we'll get over it. And that, of course, is something that we can post on the Facebook page, or that Mitch, who is does a lot of the Facebook stuff here. Mitch can do that, or Rick, or any of the other folks here.
Yeah, I've noticed several of them post on there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. It should be a lot of the social media. That's what it's encouraging. Has encouraged people to do is share some things about your family. I mean, you don't have to put your whole life out there. I'm just saying.
In fact, you should.
No. But I mean, if I was a car salesman today, and I have been in the past, I would be doing this. I would be sitting in there. I would go out to the car, and I would take my phone, and I'd be showing them, I'd be talking to them, and taking pictures, and making a little video, and uploading it to YouTube for people to be able to watch and get more details, like just as if they came to this lot and wanted to talk to me. Actually, you can get to know me before you come here.
Exactly.
Get to know you. Maybe you won't like me. You want to pick a different salesman. That's life. That happens for all of us.
Well, and some people are not
okay.
terribly comfortable about walking into a place of business.
That's
I
true.
mean, it just makes them more comfortable, and familiarity is a wonderful thing, especially in a business like this where trust is everything.
Yes.
If you feel like you can rely on someone and trust them, then you feel a whole lot better about making a major purchase.
Well, I proved that to myself back in the 80s when I owned a water-based store. I used to do my own television commercials, and it amazed me that people would walk in the door and go, "I saw you on TV.
You're that guy."
Yeah. And I'd be like, "Yeah, okay."
And?
So, I paid to be there. I'm not a celebrity.
You too can pay to be there.
Yeah, you could. If you wanted to spend a couple $1,000s a month on television advertising, like I did back then, you could be
Back when
on
a
TV
couple
too.
$1,000s was real money, yeah.
And so yeah, I would do that. It was amazing. But actually, some people, when they walked in, they felt like they knew me. I could tell. They just felt more comfortable because they'd seen me on their TV. Salesmen today should be doing that. I don't care what it is, what you're selling, if you're cars or real estate or whatever, insurance.
Any business you're in.
Doing it, I highly recommend it. Because
Any business you're in, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're a counselor, or an attorney. I mean, I know there are laws about that, but I don't think they've approached the internet, so you could probably get away with that.
No, there's attorneys advertise nowadays, of course, but.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not. Anyway, we'll worry about that.
And there's, I worked with one company I was working with a couple of years ago. It was a seat form company, and they have a dealer network. And I was talking to them, which I kind of dropped the ball. I haven't talked to them recently since I've learned this stuff, but I always thought they could hold their dealer meetings through a Hangout.
Absolutely.
Or
Skype.
Or Skype. You got 200 dealers out there. But there's limitations with that. So you could broadcast a meeting like that,
Mhm.
and you could have a panel of participants. You can have up to 10 people on a Google Hangout, and you can have if you buy into the Google Apps program, which is very inexpensive, you can have up to 15 on a Hangout. So excuse me, there are limitations, but you can. But like the way we're doing it now, anybody can tune into YouTube anywhere in the world and be able to watch the presentation. So if you're, like I say, if you're doing it,
I'm pretty sure we have at least one viewer in England right now.
If you have a dealer network and you want to talk to them, you got in product introductions or whatever, that kind of thing, you can do that through a live feed. You just tune into YouTube and watch it. And then, two, you can also do, we hadn't done this here much, but you could do a chat type function. There's, when I go over here, see it says chat. When we click on that, it opens up a chat window like instant messaging in Facebook or instant messaging.
I actually meant to mention that much earlier, and I forgot about it.
Yeah,
because I did say that we could, people can ask questions if they want.
Yeah.
Or you can instant message us. Or click on chat.
They can do it on here. They can click on chat and actually be able to chat with us. We did that earlier. Here it is. I shared that link when we first started here. And I joined and left that was the tablet that we had going.
Okay.
When I joined and left the group a couple times. But somebody here right now, you could type in a message to us and we could actually answer questions on chat. And there's no limitation there. If 200 people were on there, they could all ask questions.
And you could control, anytime you hear a meeting with 200 people in it, you worry about people talking all at once, but you can control that.
Yes. Yes. Anybody that joins this group can ask questions.
Just jump in,
We could invite them in and they could join, and they could have been like we did with the tablet for the first hour or so. We had that tablet going, and that tablet was another participant. Could jump back and forth between the two. But I think I might muted or something. But, there are other things that we could do, and those would be the things I'd have to work through a little more details and get it all working. We can, so it actually works. But we're almost at 7 o'clock.
We are.
Wow, we did it.
Shukei's, however, Shukei's, however, are
late.
open until 8.
Yes.
And that does, speaking from experience, a lot of times when you talk about doing something like this, there are a lot of people who will come in afterward.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't want to take the chance of being on camera or being on the microphone. I think enough people have been chased with microphones or saw Geraldo Rivera do it in the 80s that they just think, oh, I don't think so. Not happening.
Yeah.
So there is some hesitancy there, and I don't blame them.
Sure.
I mean, if you don't want to be, you don't. That should be a choice, although I recognize there are people who like to remove that choice, but the heck with them. Video surveillance notwithstanding on all those traffic cams. But it's a pretty big thing to be able to just do that. And you can. I mean, it's really a major thing, I think. And I mean,
I think it will become that.
Well, it already is in other parts of the country. So just so happens that we're among the first to do that here. We want to make sure we reiterate that, oh, sure. Now, see, this is the salesman coming in now. What was I saying about people coming in afterwards? We'll have to tease them within an inch of their lives. The pickup inventory here at Schukei Chevrolet is substantial. Probably, I don't know, 20 at least, don't you think? Maybe even 30? I can't quite tell from here, but it's a nice number. At least 10 Chevy Sonics, some as low as $15,000. There's one sitting on the showroom floor that's, what did we say, $18,000 or $19,000, and it doesn't look like any kind of an $18,000 or $19,000 vehicle.
Really nice.
Very much. And of course, the known commodity that First Credit division of Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen is, because that's helped an awful lot of people. Awful lot over the years. I mean, really, that's almost altruistic. It's good business, of course, but it's almost altruistic in the way that it operates. They're going to help you if they possibly can.
Yeah.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Yep. No, that's great. It's great. You all need help sometimes.
Indeed. Well, we're just about at the point of wrap up here. Is there anything else that we want to remind everyone of just that Google Hangout is this is the first
Just,
one.
yeah, come in and tell people you saw it.
Mhm.
Come in here and tell these guys you saw it.
Available on YouTube, and of course, check us out on Facebook. The Schukei Chevrolet Volkswagen web pages are www.schukeichevy.com, www.schukeivolkswagen.com. I think it is, isn't it? Or is it VW?
I think it's VW.
I think it might even answer to Schukei.com, if I'm not mistaken. But
I'm sure you would try and find it. If you type Schukei in Google, you'll find it.
yeah, I'm sure you will. I actually have Google alerts set with just the name, and so it'll bring something up every now and again. There's apparently a newspaper reporter in New England named Schukei, so that's I get her stories every now and again. She's a good record. So, but the bottom line is that this is our very first Google Hangout. We're just about done, but they're here until 8 o'clock. The first credit guys, I believe, are here until 8 o'clock as well. I wouldn't see any.
I'm not sure about that, but I would think so.
Yeah, well, I would think that if you're going to have office hours, you want to be able to finance. But, that only makes sense to me. I would assume that's the case. But anytime, you can go to the Schukei website or the Schukei Facebook pages and see what's in that
They have them a
inventory.
lot, yeah.
Mhm. There are pictures of that brand new blue Corvette, by the way.
Are there?
There are. Jan Lomas, who is just a wonderful young lady, a sales rep here. I've known her since she was that tall. And she posted some pictures of it. Looks pretty terrific.
Cool.
Well, I think that's a wrap tonight from Schukei Chevrolet
good. Thank you,
Volkswagen,
Colleen.
71 South Monroe here in Mason City. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. It
Have a
was a
good
lot
night.
of fun. You too. Thank you.